Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie. I'm your host, Robby Incmikoski. This is Paul Hogan. We're going to hear a lot more from him in just a couple moments. But first, I want to talk to you about the game of baseball. Baseball is a game that connects generations. It doesn't matter, really, if you think about it, whether you go to 100 games a year or whether you go once every 4 or 5 years. And the people that go once every couple of years, they might just like the food, the beer, the ballpark, and the atmosphere with their friends and with their loved ones, and that's okay. The reason why is everybody has a story to tell about their time at a baseball stadium. And there are a ton of stories that happen that people don't realize what goes on in and around the game of baseball. In fact, if you love the game of baseball, right here on this show, we're going to tell you stories that you never knew that you wanted to hear. So sure, you're going to understand and hear some of the stories that we tell on this show from time to time. But the angle that we are going to give you is something that I promise you, many of you have never heard. And that's why we are here at this One Team Media Studios. It's just a gorgeous place to do a podcast. So my book is called Sacred Grounds. First book I ever published. I'm quite proud of it. And there's a name, Kyle Fager, on here. And I would like to first give a shout out and a big thank you to the team at Ascender Book Services. Kyle Fager is my author, and he's my ace. Anna Hall did the graphics, and Steven Knezevich does our website, runs our store, and handles all the other things happening behind the scenes. So a big shout out to my team that helped put Sacred Grounds together. This book is packed with over 100 stories, hundreds more photos that are the story behind the story, and that is exactly what my book captures. So you might be wondering who I am. So as I said, I'm Robby Incmikoski, and for those of you that may not be familiar, either in the cities of Minnesota, Pittsburgh, or perhaps to a small degree, Arlington, Texas, I spent 16 years as a TV reporter, and I'm very fortunate to have the career that I had. 3 teams, Minnesota Twins from 2009 to 2012. I was with the Pirates for 11 years, from 2013 to 2023, and I finished my career on television in baseball in 2024 with the Texas Rangers. Sacred Grounds is my passion project, and we're extremely proud and extremely honored to have the success that we are having thus far, and that kind of spurred the idea to get this podcast going. And the man who gave this book its name is a guy I'm really proud and honored to call my co-host. In fact, the reason he is one of my best friends is because he's doing the show right now as we record this on less than 2 hours sleep, and that is because of what you do right now. Paul Hogan delivers human organs into the operating room, and you're a 23-year retired City of Pittsburgh fire lieutenant. And I'm wearing this long sleeve white T-shirt in your honor,
look very
just
90s.
like you wear. Paulie, here we are, buddy.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you make of this? This is our new life together right now.
Fantastic. I think this is fantastic. And you are right. I could use some sleep right now, but I'm fine. I'm going to be great. This is fantastic.
You know what? And that's all right, man. First of all, big shout out to Brian Hess, Ryan Jorgen, Mark, Daryl, the rest of the guys, Zach, Jason Lewis here at One Team Media Studios. How beautiful is this? Our first time we ever go on camera. Look at this studio. Look how gorgeous this is.
How do you think I feel? This is my first one ever anywhere.
Yeah. How do you feel doing this?
This is pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. You're kind of a funny guy. Can you make me laugh off the top or no?
No. I mean, we could talk about that hair of yours. I mean,
all right. We're going to start with insults. I don't know how long this is going to last. We might have failed right off the top. No, but the coolest thing, man, that I want to talk about right off the top is this right here. I want to show this napkin right here, and I don't know if the reflection, what it's going to show, but this is a napkin. And will you explain to everybody why I have this napkin in a frame?
Well, that was the night that we named your book. We, meaning I guess I. We could be my alter ego too at that point. Just go with the story there, right? I guess it was
September 3rd, 2024. It was a Tuesday night.
I would have never got that day. But yes. So I called Robby and I
you
said,
text me.
Same thing. Does it matter? Really? Does it matter? So texted Robby, said, hey, let's go watch the Pirates over at Mario's on the south side. And Skeens was pitching.
So let's give a little bit of context here for those that might be watching. Mario's is a bar in the south side of Pittsburgh on Carson Street. And we are taping this at One Team Media Studios, north in the suburbs, north of Pittsburgh, about 30 minutes at One Team Media Studios. So we both live in the city of Pittsburgh. So just to give everybody a little background of where this came from, we were out in the south side of Pittsburgh one night He said, Paul Skeens is pitching at Wrigley. Do you want to meet up there and have a couple drinks
That's
and
right.
watch the game?
That's
That's how
right.
the story began.
So Robby shows up, and there's almost nobody in the bar. There might be 5 of us. So it was kind of perfect. And then one Skeens comes out, he starts dealing, as he does every game, dealing. Well, we're in about the 7th inning, and the shots are flowing, and I would say that about all 12 of my sails were up in full majestic form. And we were feeling no pain. So this is
Well,
when
wait, you said shots. You're skipping a detail.
the bombs.
Yes, grape bombs.
The
We
grape
were ripping
bombs.
grape
We were
bombs.
having
So,
grape
and How do you
bombs.
explain a grape bomb to people that are watching
It would be
us?
a Pittsburgh thing.
Like-
Pittsburgh people would drink pretty much anything with Red Bull in it. We call it a bomb. These were grape bombs, and we were drinking them a lot. But we were pretty familiar with the one of the owners of Mario's were there, so they were
Jimmy
com-
Hoffman. He's a good friend of ours.
Jimmy
You-
was-
we used to
Jim-
say pretty familiar. Bro,
Well,
this
Jimmy-
is our show. We can do whatever the hell we
Jimmy-
want.
well,
Jimmy
was-
Hoffman, what's up, bro?
Jimmy was putting them in
Hey,
front of us,
we need a sponsor for this show because we don't know anybody yet.
and Jimmy.
Nobody wants to give us any money yet for this show. Jimmy Hoffman, I'm putting the pressure on. I'm kidding.
Jimmy
I
was.
love Jimmy.
Jimmy was. He was putting them up. He was putting the shots.
Speaking of, what's in that glass right there?
Just a little nothing.
He's got Red Bull in there because he didn't sleep.
Sure. Yes, there's some Red Bull in there. There's some.
All right. So good. So we're hanging with Jimmy. It's me, you,
So-
Harrison, Spike, Jimmy Hoffman, the 4 of us hanging out at
Um,
Mario's. I want people to know the story because it's pretty cool, man. I'm pretty proud of this book. Pretty proud of what we have, what we produced with this book. But it didn't have a name at that point.
It didn't have a
in
name.
time.
So what's going on is we're feeling it pretty good, and Robby is just this is more of the inception of his book. So what's happening is I look at Robby, and then in a perfect tone I say, "Hey Rob, I have a great name for your book, except for it came out like hand me blah, blah." So he hands me a Bevnap, and I get a pen, and I just said,
Well, you don't say, "Hey, you're talking to me." No, you reached into the bar caddy and grabbed a Bevnap.
"Yes."
Is what you did.
Okay.
It was somewhere around 1:15 in the morning, something like that. The game had ended a while.
It could have
ago.
been 3 a.m. at that point. So I grabbed the pen, and I drew a baseball diamond, and I wrote Sacred Grounds, and I drew is that the baseball diamond with Incmikoski featuring Paul Hogan, and I just handed it to him. I said, "Here's the name of your book. Here's the name of everything." And here we are a year later, almost exactly a year later, right? Almost exactly a year later. He sold about 2,000 copies of this book already.
I wish.
With that.
I wish I sold 2,000. Maybe
Well,
at some point.
Where are
we'll
we
get
at?
there.
1,000?
We're at about 1,000, yeah.
Okay.
Which isn't
okay.
bad. I mean, we haven't thrown
I mean,
a
imagine
regular
if-
season pitch yet. We're
I mean-
still 3 weeks away.
Imagine if you named that thing. It'd be nowhere near that. So that's it. That's how we got the name. I drew that when I was drunk.
So the next day, you were obliterated. I wouldn't say obliterated, but you were pretty lit up when you
Yeah.
when you wrote it on the napkin. So I had a meeting with my team the next day, and I said, actually, I kind of like this a little bit, and I'm going to show it to my team. And next thing you know, they said, all right, we kind of like it too. And then all of a sudden, look at us. There we are. Sacred Grounds.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. What a story.
Yeah.
How cool is that for you to name one of your best buddies' books?
I
Assuming I'm one of your best buddies.
well, I mean, in your mind, you're one of them. You're up there. No, this is. I mean, let's talk really, Rob. This is one of 1,000 stories that we have.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing
Yeah.
this. And I kind of wanted to let people know why. People might be wondering, why is a retired firefighter my co-host of this show? And that is because you have a big personality and you love the game of baseball. You've been to 26 of the 30 ballparks, plus you and I in the 2025
I like
season.
to say 27.
Yeah. Well, we went to George Steinbrenner Field for the
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox
Mhm.
played in September of
Mhm.
2025, and you and I flew down there just to see another ballpark together.
We did.
We went to where did we go last year? Oh, we went to Kansas City. You and I went to Kansas City
top
together
5.
to
I have
see
that in my top 5 on my
Kauffman
list.
Stadium.
Beautiful ballpark.
Yeah. So the book is is stories and photos from all 30 ballparks, and we wanted to bring that to life. And by the way, we got Josh Harrison, 2-time All-Star, coming up here in a couple minutes to join us, and I want him to be our first podcast guest ever. So that's pretty cool to have Jay Hay, good friend of mine, great player, great guy, good family man, everything. So we'll hear from him in a moment. But that was pretty cool, man. To have you name my book, and I'm really honored. I know we joke around a lot, but this is one of the cool things in my life. And this napkin I had framed, I'm keeping that. Obviously, it's mine forever. And I don't know. It was organic. I think that's what really mattered, is that it was organic the way it happened. Because we were doing what we always do. We were watching baseball and we were ripping a few great bombs and having fun. How cool a moment is that for you?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm going to remember it forever. And then to be featured in your book a couple of times. Three times.
You're the only one that has multiple photos of him. I'm not even. There's not even multiple photos of me in the book, and I wrote it.
Well, one's of my ass. I'm looking at I'm standing the other way around.
But it's at the plaque gallery at the Hall of Fame. It is at the
Hall. It is at the Hall of Fame.
I don't have a random picture of ass in the book.
How long we spent there? We were there for 8 hours that day.
One day on no sleep.
And in the
drove through the night.
And that's a story in itself in the archives.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in a place in the Hall of Fame that nobody gets to go. Nobody gets.
Not
to
a
go.
lot of people. Not a lot of people. I wouldn't
nobody
say
meaning
not
a lot of people, but I think it's understood when I say that.
Yeah.
That almost nobody gets to go to. And what were the things we got though? I got Babe Ruth's bat in my hand, where they only wanted it featured like this, and that's to hell with that. That thing's going up. And who's mitt?
We just lost the Hall of Fame. We're not getting. The Hall of Fame hates us now. And first ever show. Just said that he violated the rules in a private room at the Hall of Fame.
I didn't take it out and hit rocks with it. I just held it up.
It was the bat that Babe Ruth hit his 199th homer with.
That's right. That's right.
I don't know we're going to lose the audience on this, but it's a great story.
It is a great story. We'll tell it some other time then?
Yeah, of course. Okay. We're going to have Josh Rawich, I hope, president of the Hall of Fame, on here. Josh, if you see this, I want you as a future guest as well, brother. Yeah. John Shestakovsky runs all the PR for the Hall of Fame. I'm coming after you as well. Ken Meifert runs sponsorships. I'm coming after all of you in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Plus I've worked with a couple people that are in the Hall of Fame. Joe Mauer, Burt Blyleven, Jack Morris, coming after all of you. Not today, but some point in time during the show.
Good.
What do you think?
I think it's great.
They can take my call, or they can ignore me.
Hey, I hope you get onto the speaking series.
Yeah, they have an author series up there. That'd be my dream, obviously. Yeah. Hopefully, at some point. I don't know. I don't know how they go about that, but that would be the dream.
I have some good words for that. Too.
All right, so let's. The audience is wondering who are you and why are we here? How do you explain our friendship? How do you explain this?
Well, I mean, the background on me, or just how we met?
No, just us. How we met.
Well,
be honest. Tell the story.
Well, in 2013, me and 12 guys, we rented the pool at Chase Field in Arizona. I happened to live in college years ago with one of the clubhouse managers of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Great guy, Chad Chiffin. And I called him up and I said, "Hey, Chad, is there any way we can get that pool? We want to come down there and knock the stadium off of our list." And he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, "It's about $6,000. We could probably cut it down to $5,500 or something for you. I can call a guy." So we go down there, and we're there. And another media person calls me on my cell phone. He says, "Hey, Pirates have a new field reporter. I'm going to send him down there." This is where we differ on how we met. But he said, "I'm going to send him down. His name's Robby Incmikoski." And Robby comes down, and
I'm sitting right here. You don't have to go third person.
And Robby comes down. And you come down, and you come down and you interview, and you come down and you interview us, and everything's going great. We're like, okay, this is a cool guy. We get to know the Pirates reporter on one of his very first days as a Pirate reporter.
It was my first road trip I ever worked with the Pirates. Yeah.
One thing that we all remember is we're standing there, and this is great, but you don't let any of us talk. And there was a reason for us, is because we were in the same mode we were when I named your book. But one of the things you said is, you said, "And we're here with Paul Hogan. He's with a bunch of Pittsburgh firefighters, city police officers, bartenders, all guys, and that stuck with us. We were like, why the hell did he just say all guys?
I don't know.
You,
No.
you did though. You said all guys.
See, this is where your recollection of the events
Is perfect.
took place. Perfect. First of all, let me tell you a couple things. First, and especially in a new job, I would not put some random person who is not sober on television unless I knew I could put you on TV. And it had to be pre-planned. It wasn't like we just went on the whim. Oh my God, there happens to be a bunch of people from Pittsburgh in the pool at Chase Field when the Pirates are playing there. That was not random. You had to plan that trip and execute it and get there. So I planned that in advance. I knew you were going to be there. And I said, hey, what do you think?
We didn't know that you knew because I got the call that day that you were coming down.
All right,
very organic.
Whatever. So I interview you.
Yeah, it was a great interview. And then
I put you on the map.
Your ass. I put you on a map. You're the only guy in the history of media.
Second week on the job, I put Paul Hogan on the map in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
By putting him on television.
That was a great day.
So what else happened? So you go back. All right. So we put you on TV. Fast forward to next year, 2014. You book another trip.
Well, no, we'll stay with 2013. We had such a great party at that pool. And we had a good bribe going and everything. I went to Chad and I said, Chad, give me about 10 baseballs. And he did. And we were giving them to the kids in the stands around us. So we decided to do cannonballs every time the Pirates scored a run. And they ended up scoring 9 runs, I think, that game. So it was just great. So after the game, the Diamondbacks on their social media, they wrote, "That's how you throw a party." They invited us back. So we came back the next year.
2014.
2014. That's right. Comes right after 2013. Good one. and and we bring 35 people. So you give us another interview this time. This time you let me talk on this one, and that's when I think I broke all ratings records for Root Sports back then. Can we say Root?
Yes.
Anyways,
it used to be Root Sports. It's true.
So that was fantastic. But what happened in that game was they stopped the game in about the 6th inning, and the sheriffs in whatever county we're in Arizona, I don't
Maricopa County.
That's where we are. So they come down and they go, "You guys all have to leave, all 35 of us." And I said, "What?" They go, "There's a puddle. There's a puddle on the on the warning track." And so I look over it, and the puddle on the warning track, it's not like the pool's here and the home run wall's there. It's about 7 or 8 feet. You couldn't jump in there and splash enough water over. So I said, that's not from us. He goes, "Guys, it's from you guys. You guys all got to go." And I said, "It can't be from us." He said, "Well, it's from the drains. The drains drain onto the field." I said, "That's an engineering problem. That's not us." And lo and behold, the sheriffs both look at each other. They go, "That is an engineering problem." And they let us stay. They let us stay for that.
And then you probably got a half decent reception from the people
when
out there, right?
when that game was over, we got a standing ovation from the fans at Chase Field.
So right here, I'm going to put this
there
down
it is.
for a second.
They gave us one
One
bartender.
of the stories in my book is pictures of the pool itself right here, and then the story that Paul tells, which is pretty accurate for the most part. But this is one of the stories in Sacred Grounds of you getting uninvited to the pool.
Yeah, they told us when we got in.
So you got uninvited. So you go to the pool. You throw your second party, pool party, when the Pirates are playing at Arizona. And then what happens? You get an email from one of the reps.
Well, before that, they said to us, "Hey, you have to spend at least $300 here."
$300.
That's what he said. They said you got to spend. They said corporates usually come in here.
$300 total.
Yes,
that's like it's $300 is like.
So we
forget you for the first 3 innings.
We were $2,500, and we gave the bartender $500 tip
which is very generous.
Yeah, and then promptly got invited to never come back ever again. So they sent me an email the next day. And they said, no, I sent them an email and I said, "Hey, we want to do it again next year." And they said, "That's not going to happen." I think you have the email somewhere. I said, "That's not going to happen."
All of a sudden, the pool was booked against the Pirates.
He said, "Well, you can come back. You and your group can come back. We have a great set of dates against the Cubs in August or July." And I said, "Do you think we're bringing 35 people down from Pittsburgh to watch the Snakes play the Cubs?" So we said absolutely not. And they banned us for life for throwing the greatest party ever thrown in that pool.
All right, banned for life is a bit of an overstatement. They just didn't want you back there when the Pirates were playing.
We were banned for life from the pool. How about that?
No, they were not banned for life, but they were, let's say, uninvited from the pool.
Fair enough.
That's a hell of a story.
It is. And then last year I got a call from an unnamed person, and that said that the person that uninvited us for life is now no longer with them, and they would like us to come back down.
So you got re-invited to the pool.
We got re-invited. However, that's not going to.
Should we make a trip out there?
Well, I don't know. It's 10 years later now. Everybody's. I don't think we can. Get 30.
People get married. They have kids.
Yeah, they all grew
can't
up.
Just jump on a plane. Maybe you and I will go out there.
No, I mean we could get
a couple
we could get
people.
10. We could get 10.
Or we could sneak into the pool.
I'll go in
Work
that
our
pool.
way in.
Pool for sure. I'm going in that.
Paulie
pool.
favorite. We got a few more things coming up your way here on the first ever episode of Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie. Josh Harrison, two-time Major League Baseball All-Star and all-around great guy, is going to join us. Plus a friend of mine, Danny Corso. He's a camera guy. You might wonder, why do you want to hear from a camera guy? Well, he was operating the RoboCam at ice level for the gold medal game between the United States and Canada in hockey. Topical story for when we're recording this. Yes, we're talking about baseball, but we're going to go inside the game a little bit, talk about his experience at the Olympics, and then we're going to talk about his job as a camera guy working for the TV network that shoots Pirates games, and just get a little inside scoop on what that's like. Now, here's the thing. You have never interviewed people before. It's going to be your first, and this is your first time like on camera. How do you feel so far? Do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, this is big nothing.
It's nothing. A big.
No, this is great. This really is great. This is great. This is nicer than I could have imagined. I will say that.
How would you describe your love for the game of baseball?
I love it. I played baseball ever since I can remember as a child, and all the way till I was about 31 years old. So I played up into the Federation League here in Pittsburgh. I played with guys that made it all the way to the show. Can you believe
What's the
that
guy's name? The pitcher? Is it Jason? I can't remember his name.
Jason Rakers.
Rakers, yeah, he
Jason
made the big
Rakers.
leagues. Yeah, that's
he
cool.
He made it all the way. I played with a guy named Jason Conti. He's no longer with us. I believe he passed away last year.
Okay.
Our shortstop was a guy named Richie Venezia. He got signed by the Pirates. And I can't remember if I played with Corey Sullivan or not.
I know Corey. He's an announcer for the Colorado Rockies.
But he's a Pittsburgh guy,
Yes,
too.
he is. And this is a pretty cool moment for me. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever worked with in my entire career in Major League Baseball. What stands out about him is that I remember in 2013, there was some debate as to whether he was going to make the team. 2014, same discussion. And he ended up becoming an all-star that year in 2014. And I got to know him pretty well over his time playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's a great guy. He's a great family man. He's funny. He's energetic. And I've never met a guy, a teammate, a fan, anybody who doesn't like this guy. And I'm pleased to introduce the first ever guest on Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie, two-time All-Star, Josh Harrison. Jay, hey, my brother, what's up?
What's up, Rob? What's up? I'm going to call him Unc. You said it was Uncle Paulie, so I'm going to call him Unc.
Yeah. How do you like
Yes.
Hold on.
Let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing that.
Jay, hey, why are you a great guy? Tell me.
Wow, what a question.
What a great question, huh?
No, it starts with the foundation, man, my family. You've met my parents,
Of course.
Vince and Bonita. Honestly, that's where it comes from. Youngest of three, two older brothers. And regardless of anything that, we had going on, in the outside world, they always, preach humility and, just giving your best effort. So, regardless of what's in my way, what's ahead of me, remain humble, whether things are good or bad, and, just keep pushing and give your best effort. So a lot of, my kudos goes to my parents, Vince and Bonita.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I know that's kind of, I know it's sounds a little bit of an awkward question, but that kind of indicates or kind of really illustrates how you treat people, right? It's how you treated the media. It's how you treated your teammates. I see how you treat your family. I see how great a dad you are with your two daughters, me and Kinsley. How do you explain your relationship with the media and why you were always not only accessible, but always gracious and honest with the way you dealt with us? And that's kind of the foundation of the relationship that you and I created. How did you approach the media, even when you were making two all-star teams and when you signed a big contract? What was your approach toward that?
Honestly, just my upbringing, just the whole humility piece, but also being the youngest of three, being observant. Um, I was able to have two older brothers that lived life before me that I was able, to watch. And I had an uncle that played, 11 years Major League,
T-Bone.
baseball, 2 World Series rings. Yeah, my uncle T-Bone
John
coached for 40
Shelby.
years.
John Shelby had a long
So,
career.
so when you're talking, having a background of people that were able to, I would say a village, I had that, but also knowing that, as I said, we all human beings. Your title, and I said it when I signed my contract with the Pirates, is baseball will never define me. It's just something that I happen to do that pays me to do something that I'm good at. But I'm not defined as a baseball player. Just like the media, you shouldn't be defined as a media person. Yes, that may be your job title, but at the same time, we all got a job to do. And even in moments where I might not have been had the greatest game, I still got to show up, because I always share this story. My dad, I remember I was in the 4th grade. He coached me and my brothers in football, basketball, and baseball. And this one particular basketball game he couldn't make it to, and we lost. And I remember him, I get home and he's the media at this point, because he's trying to figure out how we lost. He's like, man, how we lose? Because we ain't losing when he coached. And I go, man, I don't know, but I had 22 points and 9 assists. And, instead of, I'm thinking he gonna be like, yeah, that a boy. His first question was, how many turnovers? And I'm like, man, ain't nobody trying to hear about no turnovers, bro. I scored 22 and 9. But as I got older, I also understood, from a dad standpoint, like, you might have had a good game, but is there somewhere that you could have been better? But as we sit here thinking about it, this too is like, that's a question that sometimes the media, it may come off as a bad question, but like, hey man, 22 points and 9 boards, but yeah, you only had 3 turnovers, but one of them might have been in the biggest moment. So being able to be accountable, not everything's going to go your way, but when you can show up like that, I think it make it easier for me to go out and play the way that I did. 'Cause I played pretty much with, I don't want to say reckless abandon. It was smart, reckless abandon. But if my aggression got the better of me, I had no issue owning up to it, because I knew 9 times out of 10, I was going to err on the right side.
Go ahead, Paulie.
That's fantastic. Hey, well, Josh, if he's happy to be interviewing right now, you could triple that for dudes like me. We've watched you forever, and for the Pittsburgh fans, we always had so much love for you in our heart. But one thing that I remember most about you is you're always smiling. You're always happy. You're easy to like. You're an easy guy to like. You're an easy guy to love. What pissed you off on the field? What made you angry?
That's a good question. Honestly, when we lost, like I honestly did not like to lose, and I'll be honest. I mean, don't nobody like striking out. Don't nobody like getting out. And it's not like I came back to the dugout and I was like, oh, I'm happy to get out. I knew, hey, it's a hard game. I got to ride the wave. But like when we lost a lot of games, when it was like, not from being a bad team, I couldn't stand losing when it was just like attention to detail. Like, man, we are a bad team because we aren't playing well. Those would be moments that would make me mad, because it would be things that wouldn't show up for real in the box score. Like everybody can see, RBI double, stolen bases. Mine would be like, hey man, like you missed. I called for a daylight pick, a sign that we worked on since spring training, and we had the guy picked. You didn't do it. You threw the pitch. They got a base hit, or hey. Man, we're supposed to, I'm at third base. I'm calling the bunt plays. It's, a bunt play and I'm supposed to crash. And, those would be things like mental mistakes. And realistically, I didn't really play with guys that had too many of them, but when they did happen, those were moments where, we don't need to coach, that's us as players. But
no, was that your same mentality as a Bearcat? Was it the same mentality when you played for Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati?
Yeah. And I was there playing as a freshman, and I was one of maybe 2 or 3 freshmen that came in and played. And, in college, you don't really know what to expect coming out of high school. And, I just remember they were looking at me like, man, who is this little dude? Like, I was tearing our pictures up in the fall, but I was also talking trash.
Yes.
I'm the youngest of 3. I got 2 older brothers, and I'm like, it ain't nothing y'all can do to me that, that hasn't been done that would intimidate me. So, I think I led by example because even my teammates to this day would tell you, like, I might come back from leading off the game, you know, dude might throw me 3 straight fastballs and I swing through all 3. And, most people come back, hey, man, what'd you see? What you got? And some dudes are like, oh, man, his fastball's doing this, his fastball's doing that. I guess I'm known for when I would come back, my teammates be like, hey, man, hey, what you got on him? And I would be like, man, this dude garbage and he know it. And my teammates would always laugh. And, like, I'm dead serious, but I'm like, oh, man, this dude ain't got nothing for us. You know what I mean? But, like, that's just how I've always been. And, so if I couldn't care less about, guys getting out and, striking out, mine was more of an attitude effort. Like, man, you give me what you
That's
got.
fantastic.
I couldn't care less. The results will take care of itself.
Now,
Great.
let's talk about how hard you play the game and the success it led you to. You made 2 All-Star teams. I remember in 2014 when people talk about roster decisions in spring training. We've talked about this before on the air, just in your career, Jay, is people are wondering, where does Josh Harrison even fit on this roster? Now, you played multiple positions, and you were kind of in the beginning of that wave of guys, which we see all the time now, that could play all over the place. You could play second, short. You could play corner outfield. You could play third. You could play almost every position on the field, and you even pitched a couple times. When you talk about your career and how you approached the game, it led to you making 2 All-Star teams. One of them was in 2014 when people were talking about you even making the team. How did that happen?
One, just waiting on an opportunity. And I debuted in 11 and wasn't in big league camp that year, but 2012, I was up all year. 2013, I was optioned 5 times before July. 2014, so 12, 13, and 14, I'm coming in as there wasn't 26 spots, there's 25. So every year I'm battling for the 25th spot. That means I'm going on every spring training trip to start that's 2 hours away. But when we come home, I'm backing up to play the second half. I remember at one point I had led, like the Pirates in like at bats, innings played. And that's not uncommon for a guy that's battling for that last spot. But at the same time, I'm like, man, what do I have to do? 2013, I mentioned I was optioned 5 times before July. I was the starting shortstop in the All-Star game. Yes, shortstop in the AAA All-Star game with like 180 at-bats. I had like 6 home runs, hitting like 370, but I was up and down 5 times. And when the All-Star game was about to be played, I got sent back up for the rest of the time, but still didn't really play. So I would say just waiting on an opportunity. And those 2 All-Star appearances, no surprise to me. I got the question after my first one, and then the second one, did it surprise you? And I go, I've been an All-Star at every level my whole life. So to think that it would magically stop in the major leagues I mean, I've been one every level in the minor leagues. So what makes you think I can't be one in the major leagues?
And go ahead.
Josh, you played. I didn't know this. I checked it out the other day. You started over 300 games at third base. I never knew that. What did you prefer, second or third?
Second. I was drafted. So funny, I was drafted as a second baseman by the Cubs in 2008. And I can remember I go to spring training, my first and only spring training with the Cubs in 2009. And they tell me they want me to do second base and center field. And I'm like, that's fine. And the last week of spring training, they sent me down to low A. And I DH'd in low A I DH'd so much that I was the All-Star game leadoff DH. But I played, and I told you I was drafted at second base. I played more third base than second base, but I played more left field than both. At the time that I was traded at the deadline in July, I think I had like 9 outfield assists with the Cubs before I was traded.
Incredible.
I'll go on the record saying this. I've said that I think I was on my way to possibly being in the running for like minor league player of the year. I had 100 hits before July. Between the 2 levels, I was hitting like 340 with like, I think 7 home runs, like 9 triples, like 20 something bags, 9 outfield assists, All-Star game DH. So like, I literally was just like, man, I don't know where this goes, but I mean, it's just one of those things where I was like, man, I know I can play, given an opportunity. That's all I wanted.
Fantastic.
We're talking to 2-time All-Star Josh Harrison. And Jay, I want to talk about 2017. The All-Star game was played in Miami that year, But what was really cool about that for you is before the season began, you played on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. What was that experience like for you, given that at the time of this recording, the 2026 WBC is happening? What memories come back when you watch any of these games?
Well, it's funny because as you're asking me this, I literally was just talking on another podcast about my time at the Classic and how even starting in Miami all the way through the finals when we played Puerto Rico and LA, we felt we were the visiting team, especially in Miami. Our bracket was Dominican, Colombia, and Canada. Now, Canada and us were kind of evenly matched as far as fans, but you talking when we played Dominican and Nelson Cruz had hit like that go-ahead home run. But I'm talking, we all big leaguers. We walk into, like, man, Miami ain't never seen this many fans in this place.
Never.
And I never got a chance to play, winter ball, international. So, like, I ain't playing, but I'm up on the bench dancing the whole time because I'm like, I'm hearing drums. I'm hearing, like, you know what I mean? This is an experience for me because I'm like, I've never experienced this. Like, this is what it's about. And then, we go to San Diego and then we got Dominican and Puerto Rico. We're like, man, we're the visiting teams again. And, I just remember, being in that locker room and those guys that we had, it felt like being in an All-Star game for like 2 to 3 weeks. Because, a lot of us, it's a lot different than the roster that's, constructed now. Not that these guys aren't great players, but, back in 2017, the age for your prime was a little different. So we had guys that were, I want to say everybody had at least one All-Star appearance at the time. I don't know if I can say the same I'm sure I can, but I know a lot of us, we probably averaged the age of 28, 29.
I think you were the youngest
Adam Jones,
guy.
It was Ian Kinsler. Yeah, I might have been the youngest guy. Me and Yelich. I think me and Yelich.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just one of those things where I just remember being almost the visiting team. But as I said, it felt like a mini All-Star game because, you're around guys that you're playing against. And also the coaching staff is former players. So, like, for those 2 to 3 weeks, you picking the brains of some of the greatest in the world. So it's kind of a cool experience that I don't think anybody will forget.
And then to win it all, how cool was that?
Oh, for sure. To miss spring training for 3 weeks and then come back with the hardware, me and Kutch didn't leave for nothing.
All right.
Hey, we also had bragging rights over Marte and Polanco. That's the other thing.
Did you think at the time the WBC would grow the way it did, the way it has?
Yeah, I thought it would. I thought it had no choice but to. Because, you can't have plays like, look at Adam Jones' catch, for instance. If he makes that catch this year, it's one of the greatest catches that they would live on to talk about. And they still talk about it to this day. But just think about with media and so much more, camera angles and stuff. There probably would have been an angle from above him, in center field that would have been like, and then not only that, StatCast. How far did he go? Where was he lined up?
Catch probability.
I'm just thinking all these things. And then Stanton hit a home run that was climbing the third level that broke the glass that we were all watching from the dugout. That was like, man, I don't even know how hard the ball was hit. I don't think they were doing it at the time. But it was like, bro, this ball had to be hit 120 at the time.
That's unbelievable. And then Adam Jones catch. Remember him falling backwards into the wall?
I remember it well.
And it was off Manny Machado, his teammate.
Machado, that's right. I forgot about that. All right, we got to move on here, winding down with Josh Harrison, because we could do this forever. But I want to show you a photo, Josh, that I have. Tell me what memories come to mind when you see this photo right here.
That looks like that might be me and my boy Jordy, Salt and Pepper, our last game at PNC.
You remember that?
Yes.
So I interviewed you and Jordy, and you and Jordy,
early.
by the way, are arguably the best of friends. I know your families are very close. Jordy and his wife Casey, their 3 kids, Maverick, Madden, Manning. Your daughters, they hung out in the playroom all the time at the ballpark. Your wife Brittany. How do you describe your relationship with Jordy, Neil, Walker, all the other guys that you play with, man? Just give us a little look behind the scenes about how, yes, you guys are great baseball players and you're professionals, but you guys have a really deep friendship.
Yeah, those years were special. But, man, I got to talk about my boy Jordy there, my boy Salt. I'm Pepper.
Why is that, Josh?
Take it.
Is it because you guys like to eat food and you like spices on it?
You can read between the lines.
How many times
2017.
Hey, I'm
when
gonna
we
tell
turned
you
to
a
double
story.
play, I think I had Jimmy T and Danny Hart say, "Hey, when we turn to double play, y'all need to play Salt and Pepper, push it." So it got to a point when we turned to double play, they would play it. But I go back to when I was telling the story how I got traded to the Pirates. I remember last day of the deadline. I think it's the last day of the deadline. I was getting ready to start in left field, high A for the Cubs, and I get an hour before the game. They pulled me in the office, told me I got traded to the Pirates. I know nothing about the Pirates. I know nobody with the Pirates. I meet the team in Lynchburg, Virginia. Rosters are supposed to be 25. I get there. There's like 37 people in a locker room because they're in the middle. It's trade deadline. They're in the middle of sending guys up, sending guys down. I can't make this up. My locker was a couch.
Wow.
Like, locker was a couch. I'm showing up. The uniforms are white, green, and yellow. I'm coming from the Cubs where you got to wear blue. I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm wearing blue cleats on this field. So somebody gave me some black cleats, but after the game, I'm like, man, I got nowhere to go. Like, and Jordy, him and Matt Haig. Matt Haig is the hitting coach for the Pirates now, but both of them, they played together at Oklahoma State. And Jordy knows my best friend, Jeremy Hamilton. They played Team USA in college. So, and my best friend's like, man, yeah, my boy Jordy's there. Like he's good people. And from then on, Jordy's like, dude, we got to pull out couch. You can stay with us. And that last month and a half, I slept on Jordy Mercer and Matt Haig's pull out couch. I'm talking, I went and got a little 32-inch TV from Walmart that had a 90-day return that I was able to return at the end of the season. But I had to have my little video game. They had their TV in their room. But like Jordy opened up him and Matt opened up their place, and we go to Double-A the next year. My parents meet his parents. We grow up through the organization together. You mentioned our wives. They were girlfriends at the time. That's how far we go back. So, like when it goes bigger than baseball, that's my dog. That's my brother. So that's kind of why we were able to make those playoff pushes, because when you've come from those kind of experience as a whole, throughout the minor leagues with a group of guys, y'all experienced a lot.
All right, we got to move this along here, but that's amazing stuff. And that right there, that's the story behind the story. When you talk about a moment like this is years in the making and a great friendship between the two of you. All right, let's talk a little baseball. It's time to have a debate. I asked both of you, and none of us know each other's answers, and we're not going to take a ton of time, but we got to address this, because what's cool is being able to do this with a guy who's made 2 All-Star teams, right? You played the game at the highest level, and you've reached not once but twice a Major League Baseball All-Star. Do you know how, Paul, do you know how hard that is to be a Major League Baseball All-Star? What kind of odds you have to beat to do that? It's not easy.
Nobody can know, but it's fantastic.
It's crazy. It's like 1 in like 20, it's
Right.
like 1 in like 40,000, something like that. I looked up the numbers. It's crazy. All right, so here's what we're doing. Who is the next big superstar in Major League Baseball and why? And who is your favorite current player and why? Who wants to start? Josh, Paul, you guys want to go? Who wants? You know what? Jay, hey, you go first. The next big superstar in baseball is who and why?
I said the next baseball superstar.
And we're taking Shohei Ohtani out of this, by the way, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
He's Ohtani. He's on his own level.
And he's a current one.
Yeah.
He's not the next.
I've been well versed just a little bit because I'm on a podcast, Bucko Territory, so we cover the Pirates, and it's not because of the Pirates, but Connor Griffin. I know there's been a consensus number 1 overall prospect, and he's only 19 years old, but a little bit of what I've seen, and I'm not a home run guy, but his home runs that he's hit, I'm watching his at bats. He's making solid contact, not striking out. That is very rare for a 19-year-old to come up and do that and show he's got an opportunity to win shortstop position out of spring training. I don't know if they will, but watching him and knowing I got a chance to interview him, he was drafted as a center fielder, moved to shortstop. Scouts have already rated him as like a big league ready shortstop. So the athleticism that I see, being able to do that, I think we could be looking at a kid that is going to be very special to come. And just spring training doesn't really matter to me. I'm watching actions. I'm watching how he moves and how he's manning shortstop, which is arguably the toughest position on the field because you're in the middle of everything. So to be only 19, making the waves that he is and, knocking on the door, I think we got an opportunity to see something special in this kid.
Paul, who do you have?
Well, I'm glad I didn't go with Connor Griffin because I knew one of you two would. Anyways, I got a Connor Griffin card right here. This is his rookie card signed. But I kind of cheated a little bit. I went with Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs.
Oh,
I know he's already an established ball player and everything, but I really like him. I think he's only 22. He might be 23, but I think he's only 22. But he's a 30-30 guy already. 2 All-Star teams, Gold Glove. He's ranked in the 95th percentile in defense, arm speed, throwing on assists. He had 35 steals last year. He hit 31 home runs in a ballpark in Wrigley, which isn't exactly friendly to left-handed batters.
yep.
So I'm going to go with Pete Crow Armstrong.
I'm taking Bobby Witt Jr. as my next big superstar in Major League Baseball, and here's why.
That's a great pick.
Well, here's the reason why. He does it all. He's got a great resume, and he's a great guy in a great organization. So let me expand just a little bit. The fewest homers he's hit in the season is 20. 4 seasons in the big leagues, J.A., all right? Fewest homers, 20. Fewest RBIs, 80. Lowest OPS was 722. That's his lowest OPS that he's had in 4 years, and he's 25 years old. He turns 26 on June 14th, and in 4 seasons, 2 All-Star games, 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, a batting title, and a Platinum Glove. That's hard to do. And he's brought up in an organization that really knows how to treat the media, and they know how to treat their fans. They're fan-friendly. He's not a real big personality guy, Josh. He's not like you. You're not going to see him like really, dance in the dugout, that infectious personality that you had when you played. But the guy plays the game hard, and he can do everything, and that is so hard to do. And that's a real credit, to him, obviously, in his working on his natural ability. But then you look at the media side of things, the guy is so accessible. He's always had his locker in media periods, which Jay, not a lot of superstar players are. And he's always there. And that's a real credit to Mike Swanson, the former PR guy who's retired, and Sam Mellinger, who's their current PR guy. And they really, quote unquote, get it in terms of setting the standard on how to treat the media. Just the Royals, organizationally, their approach toward media is one of my favorite that I've seen around the game of baseball. So I think this guy's going to get a lot of exposure, and I think he's the next big thing happening in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I wish he was a Pirate. I love him.
That would be amazing. How would you like to play with Bobby Witt Jr., Josh?
Oh, it would have been dope. Played against him.
You did play against him? Oh, when he was in KC.
When I was with
in
the
the
White
big
Sox.
leagues, right?
Yeah, when I was with the White Sox.
How good? How good was he to play against?
I saw my fair share of Bobby Witt.
How good was he? How good is he to play against? How hard is he to play against?
Oh, I mean, I guess we'll lead into the next question because he was actually my answer for my current favorite player.
All right. Who is your favorite current player? Josh Harrison in Major League Baseball. Who is it?
My answer was Bobby Witt Jr.
Why?
Honestly, everything that you said about him, but not only that, as I said, I played against him. He plays hard. I know people look at the stats and look at the numbers, but like if you watch him, he doesn't take anything for granted. Yes, he's fast. It's very easy to have speed and take things for granted. He looks for extra bags. He makes plays. And I think quietly, he has some of the most quiet mechanics at the plate. Like when people are talking hitting, I love watching him hit because it's such a small move. He's not the biggest dude. He's got he's tall, he's wiry, but and the other thing, I think his numbers are only gonna get better. I know there's been talk of Kaufman bringing in, some of the dimensions. So with those numbers, if they do that, I think they're only gonna get better. But this dude is a 5'2" player that I got to play against, and as you said, he was a cool dude. I got to meet him. When I was with the White Sox, Amir Garrett was with the Royals. He introduced me. Me and Bobby, we talked for a little bit. Would always say what's up at center field, in between games, But like he, for me, would be my favorite player to watch right now because he's exciting, he's fast, he can do a little bit of everything, and he's young. So I think we got a lot more time to see him. So yeah, you kind of took my answer. So I was trying not to answer it, but I mean, I couldn't leave you.
Because you're like, not knowing each other's answers, and I apologize that I'm sorry that I'm not sorry about that, Josh.
Well, that just means it happened organically, though.
Right. Exactly. All right, Paul, who's your favorite current player right now in baseball?
Well, I'm going to pick the low-hanging fruit here. Obviously, it's going to be Skeens. I love him. I mean, everybody in Pittsburgh, but that's kind of nationally, though, don't you think? I mean, Skeens.
Oh, yeah.
When I went to see him in L.A., the Dodgers, when he pitched and beat Yamamoto. That was a fantastic game. But you got Paul Skeens, 2-time All-Star at his age already, Rookie of the Year, MVP. He has a sub-2 ERA over the course of a season, a sub-1 WHIP. Think about that, how amazing that is. That's almost hard to believe.
Yeah.
What he has, this is the intimidating presence of a veteran. He has almost almost 400 strikeouts just since he's been called up, and that's
crazy.
last year. So
That's crazy.
That's unbelievable. I mean, for right now, I love him. He'll look great when he plays for the Dodgers when their payroll hits about $2 trillion, but they defer the salaries to $1 million and cheat and win again.
Sign him to $2 trillion. He'll defer $1.8 trillion of that $2 trillion that he gets. My favorite current player is Joe Musgrove, and here's why. He's a San Diego kid who threw the first no-hitter in the history of the San Diego Padres, number one. Number two, he's just a normal dude who's really good at throwing baseballs. And number three, he loves Marios.
So do I.
We spent a lot of nights there. We've thrown a lot of darts at Mario's.
I beat him. I beat him and his brother at darts and Mario's.
Yeah, there's and he hangs out with us, man. It's pretty cool. So, Jay, hey, thanks for doing this.
Joe's one of my favorite teammates, man.
He is the best. Is it like dude. He's just such a good dude. You know what I mean? Like he's just a normal dude who loves coffee. He just happens to be great at throwing baseballs. Like there's not like if you saw him, be like, oh, is he a surfer? Is he, like he's just a normal dude. You know what I mean? There's nothing pretentious about the guy.
Yep.
Why'd you like playing with him?
Just for those reasons. Joe was he was locked in. I mean, at the time he was a starting pitcher where pitchers still hit. Joe was actually one of our better hitting pitchers coming from Houston, where he spent his time in the American League. But honestly, watching Joe work on his craft, I think being traded to Pittsburgh was probably one of the best things that happened for him. I know, he came up with Houston and, was part of that trade with Garrett. We did not want to see Garrett go. But, Joe was one of those pieces that came back. And the times that I played behind Joe, he was one of my favorite guys to play behind. He attacked the zone with fastball, cutter, sinker, like every pitch was thrown for a strike. And how he pitched on the mound, was just who he was. Like he was gonna come at you, but like after every game, like he was always one of the first teammates. Hey, what's up, Jay? Hey, what's like just good energy dude. And you don't forget people like that.
Yep. All right, Jay. Hey, so you got a wife, you got 2 kids, you got a great family, 2 All-Star appearances, big contract. But being the first guest ever of Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie, where does this rank in life moments for you?
Oh, it's definitely right up there with the moments you've listed before. I don't do rank top 10, top 100. They all kind of hold each own special place. So it's definitely right up there because I told you didn't save the best for last. You saved the best for first.
That's right. Ranked up there with the birth of each of your 2 daughters. I appreciate that, Jay.
You know it.
You are the best, man. We can't wait to have you on again, Jay. Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Josh, thank you. Love you.
Appreciate it, Robby. Appreciate it, Unc. Look forward to being back.
Our thanks go out to 2-time Major League Baseball All-Star Josh Harrison, a great guy. And I'm so happy, Josh, now that you can't respond, I'm so happy that your appearance on Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie, first guest ever, ranks up there with the birth of your children, getting married, and everything else in your life. I'm just so thankful, Jay, and I love you, brother. You are the best. But we have an in-person guest now. In this book, Sacred Grounds talks about the story behind the story, and we're pleased to have a guest here. It's a guy I worked with my 11 years that I spent as the Pirates TV reporter. It's a guy named Danny Corso, and a lot of people might not recognize the face. He's not on TV a ton, but he is the reason people are on TV. Danny Corso is a longtime camera guy for Penguins, Pirates, Super Bowls, and his most recent excursion is to Milan and Cortina, Italy, for the Olympics in 2026, and he was a technician for the RoboCam for the gold medal game for Team USA. So you were sitting there ringside for the gold medal game, USA against Canada.
Ringside.
So that's why I like bringing people in here that are behind the scenes that have great stories to tell. And you've been a cameraman for how long?
30 years.
30 years.
Something like
how
that.
many stories do you think you could tell being a camera guy for 30 years?
A ton.
All right, so Olympic gold medal game. What was it like being ringside for that?
That's number 1 on my list, and it will never be topped. They won
really?
the gold medal. Yeah,
that much?
Yes.
And you've worked, all right, how many Super Bowls have you worked?
two. I've
You've
worked
worked
two
two Super Bowls. What other big events?
Stanley Cups, a bunch
Pirates
of Stanley
games with
Cups,
me.
Pirates games with Robby. I worked the Russell Martin game, the Johnny Cueto game.
Oh,
2013 wild card
And
game.
that
Hit the
was
home run
that
yeah.
was I was inside. I was doing inside low first. I was doing a Mo inside low first, which is a specialty camera. I had Cueto on the mound. He dropped.
Wait, you said the Mo. Explain what the camera
It's a
is.
super slow mo.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just high speed, high frame rate. So I had Cueto on the mound dropping the ball, and then the fans did the hockey chant, Cueto, Cueto.
Yep.
And I have never, ever been to a louder moment in sports than that.
Then when Cueto dropped the ball.
Never. That's the loudest I have ever heard a chant. That's the loudest. And then when Russell Martin hit that home run, it was even louder. And I'm like, that is the loudest sporting event that I have ever heard.
So
with fans.
So
It
you
was
were inside the
great.
first base camera well.
Yes.
And you had the tight shot of Johnny dropping the
Yes.
ball.
Yes. Yes.
Where were you when that happened?
I was bartending across the street.
At McFadden's?
No, not at McFadden's or Finnegan's Wake. That was in between both of those. It was a place called North Shore Saloon,
I
right
remember the
across.
North Shore Saloon.
But the bridge, the Clemente Bridge, there were so many people down there. There were hundreds of thousands of
There were
people just
people on the bridge.
outside.
Yeah.
So bad was starving for a winter.
I couldn't believe that night.
You couldn't fit a human being on the Clemente Bridge. It was really a magical night.
Dude, it
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And I remember talking to Russell Martin after that game. We were striking. I was walking down the tunnel, and he was coming up that tunnel, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, hey, my man, gave him a high five. I was like, I hope you come back, because we wasn't sure whether he was coming back.
Well,
to
he
the
had signed a
Pirates.
2-year deal, so 13 and 14.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got there when my
Yes.
first year was his first year, 13. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
but
Anyway, so go ahead. Sorry, I'm not trying to nitpick you.
he was. Russell Martin was just another one of those guys that was just a real dude.
Yeah.
You know, nice, great guy. Would
Yeah.
talk to you. Didn't.
No, he's a great guy.
You know, was just like he was one of us. You
Now-
know, if you sat down with him in a bar, you could beer stories just like with Josh Harrison.
Absolutely.
You know, and Josh is another one of my favorite players, man.
He's
I mean,
the greatest.
just
He's
because
the best.
the
That's why I asked
energy
him to be the
guy.
first guest here. He's one
yeah,
of the great.
he could have been a
human beings.
hockey player.
Yeah. So all right. So the Cueto game was the loudest you ever heard at baseball stadium, and you've been doing this for 30 years. Dan Corso, longtime camera guy. When you talk about big events, that gold medal game was number one.
Yep.
Above the Cueto game. And the great detail that you remember from that game
Yes.
12 and a half years ago.
Yeah.
Why was that number one, the USA Canada gold medal game?
Well,
And where
It's
were
the-
you? Were you at center ice?
no, I was ringside behind the USA goal,
Okay.
behind the USA.
So you're
hockey net,
behind Hellebuck.
behind Hellebuck.
Were you there
A
when he
little-
made the save on Taves, the
yes,
paddle save?
Yes, but it was behind Hellebuck, and they scored at the opposite end, obviously.
Right.
And it was the first time in 47 years.
46.
Okay, 40 is the first time in 46 years that USA won the gold medal.
Yeah.
I remember where I was when Michael Ruzioni and the boys won the gold medal.
Right.
And I played hockey back in those days, and I mean, it was just, you know, you didn't have rinks all over Pittsburgh
Right.
at that point, right? You didn't have Mario Lemieux, and when Lemieux came in, and it was like all these rinks popped up. I learned how to ice skate at Monroeville Mall. I took hockey
Right.
courses at Monroeville Mall
Right.
and Shenley Park. Those were like the only two rinks you could go to.
Right.
That event in 46 years ago when they won the gold was an explosion.
Now, what city was the gold in?
Lake Placid, New York.
Lake
No,
Placid.
not in 80. This
Oh.
year's.
Oh,
Was it Milan or was it Cortina?
no, it was Santa Giulia.
And where's that in relation to Milan? Do you know?
It's about 20 minutes from Milan.
Okay. So
Well, how
you
big
know,
was
it's
that?
right
How big was
outside.
that arena? You can't really tell from the
Well,
TV.
it was supposed to be bigger.
yeah, I'm surprised they had the ice ready for
Well,
that.
oh my God, there was still construction going on while we were setting up.
Oh,
There was no floor. There was no floors in the place. There were. It was so dusty. It was awful. You had to wear a hard hat and everything else when you were in there. And
When you were in there setting up, you did?
yes,
Really?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
like being ready in advance.
You know, they
No,
only had
well,
they only had 6 years to get this ready.
the one side of the arena, didn't have seats in the upper deck because they didn't order enough seats. So they covered it up. There you go. So I don't know how many it held. Probably 8,000, 9,000, maybe 10.
All right. Tell us about shooting games. You shoot baseball games. What goes into? Just give us the Cliff's Notes version of what it's like being a cameraman shooting a Major League Baseball game.
Well, it all depends on the camera position, and you just have to, I guess over the years you study and you learn from mistakes and whatever. But I mean, there's an assignment for every position.
Can you explain to baseball fans that might be watching right now? Are you in the same camera position every game, or will you move from game to game, or does it just depend on personnel?
I'm that guy. It depends on personnel, but I'm a guy that moves around from game to game. Some days I'll be at low first, some days I'm at low third, sometimes I'm at tight center.
Okay, so we're gonna have to break that down. You said low. Explain those camera positions and what they are.
So low first. You have
where are you located?
You're located right. First base is here. You're located right outside of first base, typically. You get left-handed batters. I'm sorry, no, you get right-handed batters, right-handed batters, left-handed pitchers, and you have that assignment that goes through all that. You're scoring all the runners. Low third is a different story. It's reversed.
Opposite. Yep.
It's opposite.
And you get to sit with me at PNC Park,
and I get to see it with him at
share
PNC
a camera well
Park.
with.
Yeah.
You know how much fun that is, Paulie.
That's a blast at low third.
Yeah, we got two liars there.
Yeah, he's no. He's Robby was always great, man. He always cracked me up. Always like,
I sat near that well around Robby quite a few times myself.
Yeah. All right, so low first, low third. So there are some camera positions. What else?
Yeah.
Explain some of the other like fans that might wonder, what is it like? They watch all these games and they see all these great shots. Where do they come from? So that's why I wanted you to explain that.
You have a mid first camera, which is going to be your super mo camera, and
mid first is located on the concourse.
On the concourse,
as you're walking, fans could see that camera person there.
That camera gives you a lot of highlights. It's following the ball, where the ball's hit. You're following it tight. You get those really tight, beautiful shots,
right,
in slow mo,
right.
So a lot of the replays come from that, as they should, and you get your high home camera, which is your game camera. Ball's hit, boom, he follows the ball. It's not a mo. And then tight center has your batter, follows him all the way.
Where's the tight center camera located?
Dead center.
Center field atop
of the green monster. Well, of the
batter's eye.
Top of the batter's eye,
which is green in every city.
Yeah, it's green in every
and
city.
Then you mentioned high home. Where's that position located?
Just right above. High home is up on the
club level. PNC Park club level.
Yeah,
so
PNC
for those
Park club level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're walking through a baseball stadium and see all these cameras set up, call them hard cameras.
Yeah.
Because they're not mobile, so you see a big giant tripod that you can't walk around with.
Yeah.
And they're set up all throughout the ballpark. So you see one in the camera well, first and third. You see them on the concourses, first and third. A couple behind home plate, and then you see them above the batter's eye.
Yeah.
Primarily, right?
Yeah.
And then a couple other locations, the foul poles here and there.
Sometimes you have your right field line, and that'll be a mo. And then you can get some really nice looks from the outfield, looking straight down the line. You're following play there, but you still have assignments, and it's all the director cutting that thing together. And people go, oh, you got to see the game. It's like, okay, if you're doing hockey and you're doing an ISO camera, yeah, you get to see the game.
ISO means isolated.
Yeah,
I know the lingo. You explain it to them.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you're following Malkin tonight. Okay, and you got 4 players to follow, and it's like you're following those guys. You do get to see the game, but it's a lot of assignment-based stuff, right. And it ends up in replay and this and that. So, but like in Milan, in Santa Giulia,
yep,
I didn't have an assignment. My assignment was to make sure the stuff worked.
How great is that? Think about that.
I would, if I was operating, I would have been in another building. I wouldn't have even been there. I wouldn't have been rinkside.
Yeah,
going, this is great, because a lot of the games we would watch from there, but the smaller games, Czech versus Latvia, and who knew Latvia was spelled with a J till I saw their uniforms. I'm like, Latvia? I'm like, L-A-T, I'm like, it's spelled Latvija, and I will tell you this, we'll get back to that, but we would watch the games in the media thing,
right?
And then we'd come out, we had a camera that was on wheels, we had to move that out for the players to come in and out. That was bullshit, but
yeah,
whatever. but the people were wonderful. I mean, they had a lot of students that were helping out, but everybody was very cool. But watching that game was just.
Can you imagine that? Like in all of American Canada, 400 million people would kill to have his
That's what I'm saying.
perspective for that
And
game.
he's ringside.
Yeah,
Let me
he's
tell
a
you,
guy.
Ringside.
From the
Unbelievable.
You'll never forget that.
Yeah.
rest of my
That
life.
game is going to be remembered for we remember 1980. That is how 2026 is going to be remembered.
But
and you're right there.
In 1980, you didn't have 18 million people watching it. They say they watched it.
And there
at this
wasn't
point.
social media in
There
1980.
wasn't social media. There wasn't streaming. There wasn't.
Mhm.
Apparently, 18. I heard yesterday there was like 18 million people watched that game in the United States alone. I'm like, that's just the United States.
Have you
And-
found yourself in a shot, like in a
No,
wide shot? Have
I
you
haven't
found
looked.
yourself in the
I
crowd yet?
probably could, but no.
18 million TVs, about
Yeah,
200
I
million
didn't.
people.
I never. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it on TV, and I didn't watch it on TV. I mean, I watched it
Yeah,
there.
but I don't know
so-
if you watch a replay of it.
Yeah,
yet.
no, I didn't. I would like to one of these days when I'm off.
Right.
You know, but
Well, you're
I
cashing
will. I will.
checks,
I
it's
will
okay.
tell you this much: Italy was great. The food was amazing. The American fans bought all the USA Olympic gear. It was gone.
Love it.
It was
Really?
gone early.
Right.
And when the USA fans showed up, and you had like the Czech team coming out or whatever, they're leaning over. They're chirping the players. They're going, "Hey, go back to Winnipeg. Yeah, you suck." And I'm like, nobody, all the European fans, they were all polite. American fans, "Hey, you suck." I'm like,
now you know why
what
they
the
hate
fuck?
us.
I'm like,
I
wow.
love it.
And
I love
you
it.
know, and to be in another country and to see the amount of American flags being held up, I'm like, it's giving me chills right now. I'm
Yeah.
like, come on. I mean, this is unbelievable. But when
It's giving me chills.
but
right
when
now.
the Jumbotron early on in this event, they cut it out later, but early on in this event, they would shoot, all the fans.
Right.
But when the American fans were there, they would shoot the American fans, and these chicks are locking arms, they're guzzling beers. I mean, the Americans drank so much beer, it was unbelievable. But
was the average
they would
blood?
shoot the Czech fans and the Latvia fans, and they were like
Latvia.
doing these dances and stuff. Americans, every time they were on, it was like guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. As it got later in the tournament, they just started shooting the kids, and they stayed away from it.
Speaking of, take a look at that napkin right here.
I'm saying
All right,
Latvia forever now.
Latvia.
Yeah.
Dad,
Yeah, what do you think of that napkin? That he wrote that when he was at about a .2.
That's about right. That's
When
what I
Paul,
know.
that's how
okay.
my book was. That's the napkin that Paul wrote when he
One
named
year-
my
one-
book.
1 year ago.
Which I have to
No,
get
it
this
was
book.
September 3rd, 2024. So it was about a year and a half ago.
When did you start working on this book? I'm going to
Oh,
interview
this was
you
like
now.
August
know this is-
2024.
Okay, but I know this has been a passion for you
Oh yeah, big time.
forever.
Yeah, big time.
for-
Well, that's
for
why I
your
want
life.
guys like you in here to bring this stuff to life because this is the story behind the story.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
follow what I'm saying?
dude,
That's
the-
what that's
Dude, the Americans drinking just had me cracking up all the time. I sent you the one picture of
yeah.
four guys dressed up as the Johnstown Chiefs showed up to that gold medal game. They were in the front. They were 3 rows back at center ice doing this. And I'm going,
with
is-
nobody in Italy knowing what the hell they're wearing.
no,
It's
No.
fantastic. Yeah.
no.
Yeah, nobody in Italy knows who
Right.
the
Nobody
Johnstown
knows.
Chiefs are.
Those are-
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But they knew.
Like, who, the Hanson brothers?
The Hanson brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all dressed up as the Hanson brothers. I'm like,
That's amazing.
I'm like, come on, they had the wigs and stuff, and I'm like, this is great. But that, the American fans chirping the opposing teams was hilarious. Now I will tell you, the Canadians had a huge contingent of fans there at that gold medal
Yeah.
game, and it was almost probably, I don't want to say the Americans were outnumbered, but it was probably 60-40 or whatever. The Canadians travel well. They did.
Right.
But when the United States won, that place was so loud for so long. And every time USA scored a goal, whether it was the men or the women's, they played Freebird. I'm like, this is fantastic, right? They're playing Freebird, and I'm like, I'm sitting there going, Freebird. I'm yelling Freebird because I grew up with Leonard Skinner, right?
Yeah.
And it was hilarious in a
Can't
way.
tell.
But no,
Yeah, I had you more as a classical music guy.
Oh, I am.
Well, looking at the shirt, the
I am.
glasses, the hair.
yeah. But you had when they won that game, and all of a sudden the players have American flags, and they're skating around the ice holding up a flag. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
And then when they were taking the team picture, they went to get Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny Gaudreau's daughters, yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
big tearjerker.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
dude, I was there. I was like, come on. And
Yeah, it was very
What are they
classy.
doing? I saw the Gaudreau jersey, and I'm like, and then I saw him skating off, and my buddy Kevin Kirkwood, who I was working with, he goes, what are they doing? I'm like, I don't know. When they brought the kids out, I said, I bet you those are Gaudreau's kids. And he was like, wow. And we both were like, silence for a minute, because you're like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
that is unbelievable.
Yeah,
When
I think everybody got choked up.
When
For that.
Jo- you know, it's actually so Johnny is from South Jersey, and his
Yes.
father Guy Gaudreau. I played against his dad in men's league. His father
Did
ran
you
a rink,
really?
Hollydale Ice Arena, like in Deffert, New Jersey, right across. So I used to
Oh,
play
my.
against Johnny's dad for a little bit. I played hockey
Yeah,
my
I know
whole
you
life
have.
growing up.
Yeah.
And his father, Guy Gaudreau, was an unbelievable player, like older guy, but he never lost his skills ever on the ice.
Right.
And I wouldn't say maybe a couple times I played against him. He wouldn't remember playing against me by any
Right.
stretch, but that was before his kids, Johnny Matthew. Obviously, you know, we missed Johnny Matthew, but
Yeah.
we're like, man, this guy's good. And then Johnny started getting good, and it's like, okay, this all makes sense. 'Cause don't underestimate how good a player Guy Gaudreau was. A really, really, really good hockey
Yeah.
player. But anyways, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not
But
to-
you know, those are the things I'll remember. That and some of the friendships you make over there. But the food, I became a wino.
oh, it's
I
incredible.
had 2 dry days out of 30.
Oh, dude.
Well,
Hey.
no, we should have had a bottle on this
You know what?
table.
And when I came home, and I'm like, I went there. I'm like, you're
A
walking
little closer to that mic.
Okay, you're walking like 20, 30,000 steps a day, for work during the set days and everything, right? And I'm going, okay, I'm going to lose weight. I stay in shape, right? I'm like, no, there's pizza. No, I'm eating that. I'm going to eat that. And I'm going to have some more wine. I'm going to have another beer. And next thing you know, I come home and I broke even. Didn't gain a pound, didn't lose a pound.
There you
I'm
go.
like, I don't know how that
Steps
happened.
and
I was like, I
there's
figured I was
pizza.
going to come home 5 pounds heavier. And I'm like, nope.
All right. So USA gold medal game, top event you worked.
Yeah.
The Cueto game, it's safe to say that's
I
probably
would say
second?
that's second.
That's
yeah.
second. How
Yeah.
about that? Danny Corso, cameraman extraordinaire. We're happy to have him on Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie.
Fantastic.
Danny,
Uncle Paulie,
Fantastic.
Robbie, thanks for
Yeah.
having me, man.
I appreciate
This is
having
great.
you.
I'm here
Yeah.
on the first episode. That's
yeah,
tremendous.
that's what's cool, man. You know, you want to bring people in here who have,
I want to hear 50 more stories. I wish we had time.
There's
Yeah.
over 100 in this book. We're
There's
going to get a
100 in
ton
that
more
book.
as we
Yeah.
go on.
Yes,
This
we
is
are.
incredible.
Yes, we are. So,
All right, we got to wrap this up, man. How much fun did you have, Paulie?
This is great. This is great.
Do you think
Yeah.
you're any good at this?
Hey, Paulie's going to be great at this. You already are great at this.
Well, I mean, I'll keep the flattery coming. I'll take
Yeah.
everything I can get.
He's not as funny as he thinks he is. And we're going to give him a chance to show everybody. Thank you all for watching episode 1, Sacred Grounds with Robby and Uncle Paulie. See you next time.